They told you love is earned, that it is given only to the deserving, to the beautiful, to the lucky few who pass some secret test. But I tell you, love is a state of consciousness, and you may enter it now without permission, without waiting, without effort. You have believed, perhaps all your life, that love comes from outside, that someone somewhere must discover you and finally declare, "You are worthy of my affection." But this is the grand illusion, the shadow on the wall, for there is no other. What you call they is but yourself pushed out. If you desire to be loved, to be seen, to be held as someone treasured, you must first enter that state in imagination. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. For what you accept as true of yourself in your inner world becomes your experience in the outer world. You need not chase them. You need not convince them. You need not even know who they are. Love does not come by force or longing. It comes by assumption. If you persist in the belief that you are unloved, the world will echo that state faithfully. But if you move in imagination, if you feel yourself now adored, now cherished, now chosen, life rearranges itself in startling ways to prove you right. I am not asking you to daydream. I am telling you that feeling loved is a creative act. It is a declaration of truth that does not wait for evidence. It is your spiritual authority to say, "I am already loved. I am already desired. I am already whole." Do not ask where they are. They are waiting for your signal. The moment you occupy the state of being loved, you send a message, not with words, but with vibration. And those who resonate with that new you will find you, like rivers drawn to the sea. Let them appear. Let them come. Let them recognize you by your frequency. Remain in the state. Fall asleep in it. Walk the earth as one who is irresistibly loved. And soon your outer world will become a mirror, reflecting back to you the inner certainty you have dared to hold. To seek love is to misunderstand its origin. You were not born to chase the affection of others, to prove yourself worthy of their attention, to earn what already belongs to you by divine inheritance. The world has taught you to wait for love, to become deserving through effort, beauty, or virtue. But I tell you, love is not received. It is assumed. It begins not with them, but with you. Everything that you experience is the outpicturing of your inner state. You cannot experience love until you first become love. The one who feels unloved will pass unnoticed by the very people who could adore them. Not because they are not valuable, but because they have not occupied the state where love dwells. The law is simple. You do not get what you want. You get what you are. Assumption is the secret door. If you desire to be loved, you must assume now, this very moment, that you are already the one who is loved. Do not wait for evidence. Do not ask for signs. Begin with the end. Move in your imagination to the scene where love is already yours. Feel the embrace. Hear the words. Smell the perfume of their presence. Let it become so vivid within you that it overrides what the senses currently show. You may protest, but there is no one in my life right now. That does not matter. The world has no choice but to reflect your internal assumptions. Once you accept that you are loved, not someday but now, life bends, people shift, and new events unfold to mirror the state you have claimed as true. This assumption is not a mere affirmation. It is not a chant or a wish. It is a feeling, a deep inner knowing that you are already loved in the way your soul desires. When you walk, walk as one who is chosen. When you speak, speak with the poise of someone adored. Not because you are faking it, but because you have accepted that love is your nature. You are not attracting love. You are revealing it through the identity you inhabit. There is a sacred chemistry in consciousness. What you feel as true of yourself becomes magnetized. It calls forth from the invisible realm the visible form of your assumption. This is not magic. It is not superstition. It is law. To assume is to become. If you feel rejected, neglected, or unseen, Do not seek to change the outer world. Do not beg for validation. Instead, retreat into the silence of your mind and shift your identity. Ask yourself, what would I feel like if I were truly loved? Do not answer with words. Feel it. Experience it. Let it envelop you like warm light. Let it soften your speech, lift your shoulders, brighten your eyes. Live from that sensation, and soon the world will show you its reflection. The one who is loved does not chase. They do not plead. They do not shrink in the presence of uncertainty. They walk in the knowledge that they are the operant power, that they command the conditions of their world through what they accept as true. Love does not need to be earned. It only needs to be embodied. Assumption is the womb from which all realities are born. To assume you are loved is to set in motion a series of unseen forces that rearrange time, people, and events to bring you the experience of being loved. The assumption precedes the evidence, never the reverse. So many remain trapped in cycles of loneliness and rejection because they wait. They wait for someone to make them feel special. They wait for words, gestures, or confirmation before they believe. But that is not how creation works. The cause is within. The outer world only echoes back what you assume as real. You cannot fool this law. You cannot assume you are unloved and hope that someone will prove you wrong. The law does not give you what you hope for. It gives you what you expect. And your expectation is forged in the fire of your assumption. Let it be clear, when you assume you are loved, you are not deluding yourself. You are choosing the only reality that matters, the one you accept internally. And once that acceptance becomes your natural state, once it feels familiar to feel loved, to feel treasured, to feel embraced, then the world will rise up to meet you in ways you could never plan or predict. Do not wait. Enter the state now. Assume you are loved, and you shall be. Look around you. All that you see, all that you touch, all that you hear is but a mirror, not a fixed reality, but a reflection of your internal assumptions made visible. The outer world with its people, events, and circumstances is not acting upon you. It is responding to you. It is an obedient servant to the commands of your imagination. You believe yourself to be a receiver of life's conditions, but you are, in truth, their author. Nothing happens outside that does not first find its roots within. The quarrel, the silence, the affection, the recognition, all these are but shadows cast by your inner state. The mirror cannot reflect what is not first in front of it. Your consciousness stands before the glass, and the world takes its shape accordingly. Do you feel unloved, unseen, or abandoned? These are not the results of outer circumstances. They are the projections of a belief you have accepted about yourself. The world merely confirms what you continue to believe is true. It does not question. It does not argue. It simply reflects. If you wish to change the reflection, you must change the face that looks into the mirror. It is useless to polish the glass when the blemish is on your own skin. It is vain to blame the mirror for a frown you refuse to soften. The mistake most make is to try to alter the picture without addressing the painter. But every scene, every character, every tone of your daily life is painted by your concept of self. The truth you hold, consciously or unconsciously, about who you are. You may cry out for change. You may beg the world to love you, to treat you well, to see your worth. But unless you believe you are lovable, valuable, and worthy, the mirror remains unchanged. It is not cruelty, it is law. The world cannot reflect what is not impressed upon the deep of your own consciousness. When you walk through your day feeling inferior, the world echoes back rejection. When you carry the inner tone of being unwanted, even the kindest soul may overlook you. But when you embody the state of being adored, admired, and respected, the world has no choice but to recognize you as such. The secret is not in forcing others to behave differently. It is in altering your inner atmosphere, the tone of your inner conversations. Speak to yourself as one who is treasured, and soon you will be. Walk with the inner feeling of being desired, and soon they will appear, drawn to your frequency without knowing why. The mirror responds not to words, but to vibration, not to effort, but to identity. The outer world is not a test. It is a measurement of the assumption you have made about your own nature. If you feel unworthy, the world cannot contradict that. But if you rise inwardly and declare yourself chosen, special, and loved, the world bends to mirror that image. You need not ask the mirror to smile. You need only smile first. The illusion of separation has taught you that others are autonomous agents with power over your destiny. But every person is simply playing the role you have assigned them based on your concept of self. If you see yourself as the overlooked one, then even those who adore you will unconsciously play the part of the uninterested. But shift your self-concept to the beloved, and the same people will feel compelled to mirror that love. You are not at the mercy of appearances. The world is plastic, malleable to the shape of your beliefs. When you change your state, your environment reshapes itself accordingly. The shift is not always immediate, but it is certain. The mirror takes time to catch the new light, but it must eventually reflect what stands before it. Begin not with trying to fix others. Begin by selecting the state you wish to dwell in. Occupy the inner dwelling of one who is adored. Feel it real. Let that assumption become so natural that it no longer feels like pretending. Then, without strain, the outer will echo the inner with remarkable fidelity. You may test this. Assume now that someone is thinking of you with affection. Persist in that feeling. Return to it often. And soon you will receive the call, the message, the look that confirms it. Not because you willed it into existence, but because the mirror finally caught up with the image you placed before it. You are the source. The outer world has no power except that which you give it through belief. What you accept within must appear without. The mirror does not lie. It only reflects. All things begin in the mind. What you call reality is only the crystallized shadow of your imagination. Before the event, there was a thought. Before the relationship, there was a desire. Before the success or the sorrow, there was a feeling impressed upon consciousness and accepted as true. Imagination is not a passive tool for fantasy. It is the creative force through which all things are made. It is the divine act of shaping the unseen into form. You have been told that reality is fixed, that the world is external, objective, and unmoved by your thoughts. But I tell you this, there is no reality outside of consciousness. All that you experience is born from the secret theater within. Imagination is not a dreamer. It is the builder of worlds. What you see with your outer eye is always the echo of what has been formed by your inner vision. Each time you imagine, you plant a seed. Whether it is a seed of joy or despair depends not on chance, but on the nature of the image you hold and the emotion you feel behind it. Your imagination fused with feeling is a spiritual act of conception. And just as surely as night follows day, that which has been conceived will be born. If you imagine failure and feel it real, the world will organize itself to fulfill that script. You may not realize you've done it because you have believed the images in your mind to be unimportant, idle, or accidental. But nothing imagined is ever wasted. Every picture, every internal drama, every assumed outcome becomes an ingredient in the formation of your tomorrows. This is why it is not enough to wish for what you want. You must imagine it as already real. You must see with the eye of spirit, not the eye of flesh. You must persist in the inner experience of your desire fulfilled, until the outer world has no choice but to conform. When you use your imagination deliberately, you are performing a sacred act. You are not just visualizing, you are creating. The images you form in the quiet of your mind are not idle dreams. They are blueprints that reality is compelled to follow. This is why I say, Never entertain what you do not wish to manifest. Never dwell upon what you do not want to live. The world, vast and varied as it appears, is only a stage, and the play being acted out is one of your own authorship. You may think others are playing their parts independently of you, but that is not so. They are responding to your inner assumptions, even when you are unaware of them. Change your inner story, and the players change their lines. Assume a new outcome, and the scene shifts before your eyes. Imagination, fused with belief, is the most powerful force in existence. It transcends effort, defies logic, and requires no permission from the world. You need not wait for the right timing, the right person, or the right opportunity. You are not at the mercy of conditions. Conditions are at the mercy of you. Suppose you long for love. Do not look outward. Do not count the days, the rejections, or the silence. Go inward. Sit quietly. See yourself in the arms of one who adores you. Hear their voice whispering words of affection. Feel their warmth. Breathe the air of your imagined home. Let it become so vivid that it is more real to you than the room you sit in. Then rise, not hoping but knowing that what you have seen in imagination is already yours, already done, already accomplished. And though it may not yet appear, though the outer world may still reflect the past, persist. For all things must come forth in their appointed time. The delay is not denial, it is gestation. Imagination creates reality, but reality unfolds in rhythm. Test this, not in grand things first, but in the small. Imagine a friend calling you, and feel the joy of the conversation. Imagine finding something lost. Imagine being greeted with warmth by a stranger. See if the world does not echo back your imagined acts. And when you find it does, when the outer begins to mimic the inner, you will know the truth. You are not a spectator here. You are the author, the builder, the source. Your imagination is not fantasy. It is the womb of creation. You look out upon a world that seems filled with other people, separate, independent, unpredictable. You speak to them, react to them, fall in love with them, argue with them, fear them, or revere them. But what you do not yet fully grasp is this: there is no other. Every person you encounter is nothing more than yourself pushed out, playing a part that corresponds perfectly with your concept of them, and more importantly, your concept of yourself. What you believe about you is what the world believes about you. What you accept as true within, the world accepts as its script. There is no actor on this stage that is free from the influence of your assumptions. The teacher who praises you, the lover who leaves you, the stranger who smiles. They are all messengers, expressions, and shadows of your inner world made visible. They are not doing something to you. They are reflecting something from you. This may disturb the ego, which wants so desperately to believe in separateness. It wants to say, but they hurt me, they betrayed me, they rejected me, they didn't see my worth. And yet, if you look honestly within, you will discover that before they ever acted, you entertained the idea of being undeserving, unnoticed, or unlovable. You carried within you the seed of their behavior, and they merely sprouted from the soil of your subconscious beliefs. There is no one to change but self. This is the eternal law. If someone treats you with coldness, do not attempt to alter their behavior by manipulation or pleading. Instead, go within and ask, what do I believe they are mirroring back to me? Are you holding the belief that you are easily forgotten? Are you assuming that people grow tired of you? Are you silently accepting the idea that you are hard to love? Change that inner assumption, and you will watch their role change effortlessly. Do not ask them to shift. Shift yourself, and they must follow. They cannot help but comply with the script you hand them in the theater of consciousness. If you see someone as jealous, controlling, inattentive, or emotionally unavailable, it is because you have given them that mask to wear. Whether through direct assumption or through your self-concept, You have placed that energy within them by the law of projection. The world is not separate from you. You are both the projector and the screen. This is not to blame you, but to awaken you. It is not punishment, it is power. For the moment you realize that no one is acting independently of your inner world, you cease being a victim and become a creator. You stop reacting and you begin selecting. You stop begging others to love you, and you begin to love yourself so profoundly that love becomes inevitable. Even the most difficult characters in your life are not truly others. They are playing out what you assume to be true, even if you inherited those assumptions without awareness. Perhaps as a child you were made to feel invisible. Perhaps you grew up with the belief that affection must be earned. Those beliefs did not die. They became patterns, and those patterns were passed on to others to fulfill. But you are not bound by the past. You are free to imagine anew. Imagine that others adore you. Imagine that you are constantly seen through eyes of compassion and admiration. Imagine that every room you enter responds to your presence with warmth. Persist in this inner atmosphere, and the outer world will rearrange itself to reflect the new casting you have chosen. It will seem miraculous. People you once struggled with will soften. Conversations will flow where there was tension. Strangers will offer kindness for no apparent reason, but there is a reason you changed, and so the world had to change. There is no other. This is the mystery of unity. When you accept this, you no longer fear rejection, for you know it begins with you. You no longer seek approval, for you grant it to yourself. You no longer chase love, because love is not something outside of you. It is the vibration you emanate when you accept your wholeness. Every person you meet is an echo. Every face you see is a mirror. They do not show you who they are. They show you who you are being. When you change that, the whole of your world begins to reflect your new inner portrait. You have imagined well. You have seen the end. You have tasted the result. Perhaps you have even felt the warmth of being loved, the thrill of success, the comfort of security, all within the sacred chamber of your imagination. But then the question arises, why has it not appeared? Why does the world remain unchanged despite the vividness of the vision? And the answer lies not in the vision itself, but in the persistence of your assumption. The creative act is not a moment. It is not a fleeting visualization or a brief emotional surge. The act of creation is a sustained belief. It is the quiet, steady repetition of an assumption, held firm despite appearances, despite delay, despite doubt. You may begin with a powerful scene in imagination, but if you abandon it the next morning in favor of fear, frustration, or facts, you cancel the seed before it has taken root. What you assume and keep assuming becomes your world. There is a divine patience woven into this law. Just as the seed does not bloom the moment it is buried, so too does your assumption require time to harden into fact. But what most fail to understand is that the assumption must be kept alive, watered by feeling, reaffirmed by thought, and protected from the weeds of doubt. It is not the size of the vision that brings it forth, but the steadiness with which you claim it as true. Even in the face of contradiction, you must learn to walk by faith, not by sight. The senses may betray you. The world may scream otherwise. But you must return again and again to the truth you have chosen to assume. The world may offer no evidence. The phone call may not come. The bank account may still be empty. The person may still be silent. But if you abandon your state because of what the outer world shows, you remain a slave to appearances rather than a master of assumption. To persist is not to struggle. It is not to beg. It is not to push. Persistence is gentle. It is quiet authority. It is the inner knowing that what I have assumed is already mine, even if the world has not yet shown it to me. When you persist, you are not hoping. You are dwelling. You are not wishing for something to happen. You are living from the end, and remaining there unshaken. Those who understand this law do not measure time in minutes or days. They understand that time bends around the one who persists. The longer you hold the assumption as real, the more the world must conform to reflect it. The bridge of incidents begins to build itself. The right conversation arises. The missed opportunity returns. The person appears, not because you chased them, but because your unwavering inner state drew them in like gravity. You are not responsible for how it comes to pass. You are responsible only for your persistence in the assumption. That is your domain, your sacred duty. If you dare to remain faithful to your imagined truth, if you live as though it were already done, then nothing in this world can prevent its unfolding. But if you waver, if you allow doubt to poison the seed, then the manifestation dissolves like mist in the morning sun. There is no substitute for consistency. One moment of belief followed by hours of fear will not move the needle. One bold declaration followed by a week of contradiction will not bring results. Your outer world is slow to move because it is waiting for you to hold your new identity long enough to justify the shift. This is why those who persist are always seen as lucky. It seems as if life just bends for them, as if circumstances favor them without reason. But the reason is found within. They have assumed the role of the loved one, the successful one, the respected one. And they have stayed there, regardless of appearances, regardless of evidence. And so the world eventually caught up with their inner stance. You must be that steady. You must remain in the new story long enough for it to become natural. What is natural to you becomes normal, and what is normal soon becomes visible. The world is not resisting you. It is listening to your persistence. It is watching for consistency in your signal. When it finds that you have truly shifted, that your assumption is no longer a hope, but a dwelling place, then the mirror must reflect the new face. Remain in the state. Return to it as often as necessary. Speak from it, think from it, sleep in it. Let it become your most familiar place. And as you persist in the assumption of your desire fulfilled, the outer world will respond with mathematical precision, for it has no choice in the presence of your unwavering inner claim. Now you see that the world is not outside you, and life is not happening to you. It is unfolding through you. Every face you meet, every love you long for, every rejection you fear, every miracle you crave, all of it begins within. You are not a beggar at the gates of life, but the master architect, laying bricks with imagination, mortar with belief, and form with persistent assumption. If you seek love, be love. If you desire recognition, assume you are already seen. Do not wait for the world to give. Give to yourself the inner reality first, and let the outer obey. Let every person you encounter become a reflection of your concept of self, not a test, but a confirmation. And when the mirror seems slow to respond, remember the world bends only to those who persist in the unseen. You are not here to wait. You are here to declare. You are not here to chase shadows, but to shine light. Enter the state, dwell in it, love from it, think from it, and watch as life, like a faithful servant, reshapes itself to match the inner kingdom you have dared to inhabit. This is the mystery of being. This is the power you hold. This is the truth you were born to remember. Persist, assume, and watch them appear.